All right, welcome back to another episode of the TO Show. Again, thanks for everyone's support of the last episode. I know the episode went a little long, but we had a lot of good information in that episode, and we'll definitely have a lot of good information on this next episode here. And so, my next guest here on the TO Show is Andersen Vaughan. How are you doing, Andersen?
I'm doing great today, actually, Tyler. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so blessed to have you on the show. I've heard a lot of great things about you, and I've seen a lot of stuff on social media and heard a lot of things. Watched a couple videos on the internet about you on Albany, and it's awesome. It's honestly a blessing to be in your presence right now.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
So talk a little bit about yourself, Andersen. Get the viewers a little bit background about yourself. I know we got your picture up here on the UAlbany website, but what's a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so, I'm Andersen Vaughan. I'm on the volleyball team here at UAlbany, and I'm a setter. I am from Leesburg, Virginia, so it's about a 6-hour commute from Albany, and it's been a wild ride here at the University of Albany. I study psychology and criminal justice for the university, and I hope to have a few career paths, in my mind, but, we'll see where life takes us. And recently in the fall, I started a blog because we were shut down for athletics. And, I've always loved writing. It's been a passion of mine, and that's kind of something I got into recently, and it's gotten a lot of positive feedback. And I kind of write about all things student athlete and, just mental health. Mental health awareness is something I'm really passionate about. And I've gotten a lot of good words, and, I keep writing about mood boosting tips and, how quarantine is affecting all of us, not just regular athletes, but regular people. And, the list goes on, and I could really talk forever. But yeah, that's just a little bit about kind of me and right now, and I'm graduating early this year, so I'll be doing my undergrad in 3 years.
Well, that's impressive, undergrad in 3 years. But why did you start up the blog? Like, what made you want to start up that blog?
Yeah, so I've always loved writing, and I mean, me and my best friend, my home best friend, we wrote all kinds of things when we were younger, and little short stories here and there. And English has always been my favorite subject. But as far as, writing as a side hobby is just something I've really enjoyed doing. And I've always wanted to kind of write a book, not knowing what kind of book to write, but just devoting time to that and just kind of a lifestyle type of writing, no like set in stone, subject. But the blog, we were shut down in the fall. So all this time we had from athletics was suddenly freed up, and I got all my schoolwork done, and I was talking to my best friend and my boyfriend, and I was like, I think I'm just going to write a blog. I think I'm just going to start a blog and see how it goes. And I basically started it. It was free, which was awesome. And I started writing about kind of, my experience and the experience of a student athlete, and how mental health is a really big part of our lives. And it's needs to be more normalized, and it is more normalized, across kind of the NCAA and just society in general. So I just kind of started it and started writing about things I was passionate about, and I was getting positive feedback on it, and I just kind of posted every week, and I'm posting more monthly now just because of school and everything, but I do have one coming up, so.
That's awesome. All right, you guys better stay tuned for Andersen's new blog post. But so I was just curious. So you talked a little bit about the mental health side, but so besides that, why did you write it? Were you here to just help out other fellow student athletes? Similar to what we're doing here on the podcast is helping student athletes, but also you helping just other people who might be stressed out or have some sort of mental health issues for that.
Yeah. So at first my first reason for writing it and starting it up was, to reach student athletes, just from my teammates, and, I have a bunch of athlete friends here at the university. We talk about these things, and, we realize we all kind of have the same emotions, and people are stressed out, and, the physical toll that being a student athlete can take on your body, but also the mental toll is just not as talked about as much. And I just kind of started writing it as writing my thoughts out, and in hopes that they would be relatable to other athletes going through the same thing. And I started writing about tips, mood boosting tips and how to get through tough times. And, of course I'm not an expert, but it's just, a side hobby. And it's not just for student athletes. One few of my close friends are, pre-med students, and they're taking the MCAT. And, burnout is really important and, something that happens to a lot of us. And it's not even people our age. It's, mothers and teachers. And, it's just the COVID-19 effect on all of us. And honestly, COVID was the main reason I started writing it, and because COVID affected so many people and so many different careers and, just lifestyles. And it was nice to kind of put my thoughts out there and then for people to realize that, hey, I'm thinking the same thing. And, it's really good that you're using your voice and, expressing something all of us have a stance on. And so that was kind of right now, younger athletes is another thing I'm pushing towards, and just reaching out and like trying to make an impact with my words instead of, I don't know, just keeping it to myself, I guess.
Yeah, I understand that. So where do you usually get this information? Just the internet and just your pre-med students, or just kind of just like, and also past experiences? Is that where you're mostly getting this kind of that tone and that certain topics about? Is that what
it's definitely like a trend. I feel like I definitely get ideas to write about through my social media scrolls, and kind of I feel out what my friends and my close circles are kind of going through, and I just kind of try to write about what everyone's really kind of feeling or talking about. And the Hidden Opponent, I'm a campus captain for the Hidden Opponent, which is, a nonprofit organization run by Victoria Garrick. She was the founder of it. And, I'm a campus captain here on UAlbany, and it's for mental health awareness and breaking that stigma and, checking in with our teams and everything like that. And the Virago Project is also a really popular social media account and also a nonprofit organization. And they write about the female athlete, and they push for, female empowerment and all of that. And so all of that kind of just compiles into all these different things I want to write about and want to express that other people are thinking about too. But definitely just feeling out what people are saying and thinking, there's definitely inspiration all around you and you don't realize it. And, taking in and observing what's around me and putting it into words and just kind of trying to be impactful and effective in a way that's not like forceful or anything like that, in a creative, carefree sort of way.
I think that's awesome. I think the best part of, our experiences, at least as athletes, is being able to share that with other athletes who might not necessarily have a voice and might think that they don't have a voice. I think it's important for us athletes to know that, hey, we do have a voice, we do have a say. We're going to contribute to, society and overall in general. Do you think, what experiences have you got, to help you create that blog? Like what other experiences have you had, like a couple experiences that you've had issues with at all with mental health and stuff like that, to help other people as well? Yeah.
In high school, my volleyball team, we're state champions for, years and years. And, I got to be a part of that for my last 3 years of high school, and, kind of carrying that experience, a very successful experience of being state champs, and bringing that into Albany my freshman year. And then my freshman year was actually really hard, and I ended up playing a lot, and we got to the America East tournament and we lost, unfortunately. But just that whole going into my freshman year and, as a student athlete, making that transition and having all of that insurmountable pressure on you to be the perfect athlete for your coaches, for your teammates. And then for myself, one thing, my mentality has always been, you can always be better. Like, there's always something you can improve on. And, that has derailed me a few times. And, it's just the idea that I can be critical of myself a lot, which is probably the same case for a lot of athletes. And especially when you're put into an environment my freshman year, and you're expected to perform, and you also expect yourself to perform, pristine. And that's just a lot of pressure. And then also academically, I challenge myself academically, and I'm very academic driven. So kind of the student part and the athlete part coming together, and those pressures to just be on your game all the time is really hard. And it took a toll on me and, some of my teammates as well. And just, it helped coming into my freshman year with 7 other girls, because we kind of all went in it together, and we had, our experiences to share and to talk about. And, after that freshman year and all the struggles and just performing, and it was mainly with myself. It wasn't, other external forces, but getting through that was really powerful. And I got through that, and, college athletics in general is tough all the time. It doesn't matter the sport, just you're always watched, and you're always expected to be on your game, and you can't have an off day. Yeah. And that's not the case. That's not the case, though. And I feel like, we as athletes, student athletes, don't realize that it's okay to have an off day. It's okay to, take a break. But, in our other mind, we're like, no, we can't take a break. We have to be perfect. And it's just, this kind of catch-22 that we're faced with all the time. And so me getting through all that, bouncing back, and knowing other people are doing the same thing was kind of also inspiration and passion for writing that blog. Because, it's like, I hear you, I see you, and so it's okay for you to voice this too and express it. If I'm vulnerable, maybe it'll help you be vulnerable too. And so that's kind of another main reason why I decided to write that.
So you talked a little bit about coming in freshman year, mm-hmm. and having those other 7 girls to help you kind of go through that, and mm-hmm. knowing that they're going through something similar. But also on top of that, didn't you win America East Freshman of the Year for that? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about a little bit about, from the mental health side, is how are you dealing with those highs and lows? Because you talked about, well, man, I just won a state championship. I'll come in, and then, I'm not probably performing as what I was like to, but then you end up wearing America East Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. And how would you, to the viewers or any athletes out there, how do you deal with the highs and lows, of that, of the athletic side? Because we're all going to go through it. Like, there's going to be days, like you said, there's going to be days where you're on your game, like, you got it. It's like, mm-hmm. it's like my golf game,
Yeah.
Like, some days I'm like, man, I'm so good at this game. Like, why am I not a pro? And other days I'm like, I suck. Why do I even own a set of clubs right now? You know what I'm saying? So how do you deal with, as an athlete, how do you deal with those highs and lows?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I feel like I have a blog post about this, but I feel like you can never be fully prepared for anything. And, especially coming into my freshman year and this new culture and all these girls who've been on the team, and it was helpful coming in with a bunch of other girls, but, you're walking into a new environment. For me, I was coming from a state championship successful team, and not that this team was successful. UAlbany is a very successful team. Bringing that to the table, and then also, what are these girls thinking of me? I'm a competitive player. I'm in it to win it, as well as all these other girls. We have the same mindset. We want to win. We want to work together. But individually, people have mental battles, and it's in a practice, in a drill, in a game, while you're in treatment. And it's just all of these thoughts you have of, oh, I could have done that better. Why did I do that? Why did she shank that ball? And it's just, you can't be thinking that all the time. And it's more about playing in the moment and focusing on that present moment, that present touch. For me as a setter, that's really important. And, the highs and lows come and go. And it's important that you stay sane, through it all, which is really hard. But there's going to be off days. There just are. And it's not something it's how you walk into the practice, and it's how you set your mindset before that practice. And it's whether you're going to that practice and you're going to have a great practice, or you're focusing on one part of the practice, one skill, and you're going to be really great at that skill. Where is your focus? Where is your attention? And, for you, if you're doing good enough and that's good for you, that's great. And coaches are going to want you to perform this way or that way, and your teammates are going to have feedback for you too. And it's like, well, what do you want? You know, what are you focusing on in that moment? And, you know, one thing my mom has told me is the best you can do is the best you can do. And for some of us, you know, you may be walking into practice, you've had a great day in that practice, you know it's going to be killer, and it may be. And, you know, you could be walking into practice one day having woken up, not had a good sleep, you know, just not feeling it, and you're going to give your all, and that's going to be it. You know, that's your all, however that may look for you. And it's important, you know, as a setter. So we're like the quarterback, you know, you play football. Yeah, exactly. So I'm running the offensive plays, you know, we have the strategy and, you know, telling my girls where to go. And there's a lot going on. So it's looking at the other side. It's, okay, what are all my 4 hitters going to do? Where am I going to go? It's just, there's a lot going on. And it's important that you break it up and you figure it out step by step instead of looking at it as a whole picture. And then again, you know, looking at a whole picture is also really good because you don't want to be stressed out about every single little detail. So it's just, honestly, I think the best advice I could say is just being in the moment and, you know, not thinking about the past, not thinking about your future. For me, being critical of myself, not thinking about my mistakes that I made 10 minutes ago and thinking about it still, just moving on. And, you know, I've gotten better at that, and it's made me better as a player, and I've grown as a person from that. You know, volleyball and sports in general, you know, there's skills you have off the court too. And it's the adaptability, it's the versatility, it's the, you know, leadership and all of that all together. So being in the moment and focusing on what's in front of you, I think is the best thing I could say.
Yeah, I agree. I think also what I like to add is your attitude sets everything for the day. You know, we talked a little bit about this with Nick. Was, hey, like, you know, with this COVID stuff, or even just in general, like, man, I could have a crappy day. You could wake up and say, I'm gonna have a crappy day, and guess what? More likely than not, you're gonna have a crappy day. You wake up, say, hey, look at your opportunities. Look what I get to do. You know, as an athlete, like, hey, like, you know, you only get to play sports for so small part of your life. Think about, like, we're about 20 years old, right? We're going to probably be done most likely playing sports by we're 25. You know, that's a fourth of our lifetime, pretty much just about. And so, you know, having that attitude taken every day, you know, don't take it for granted. You know, that's what I like to say is don't take your opportunities for granted, because you never know. Like, God forbid, something could happen to you, happen to your family, or something like that, where you might have to walk away, or you might not be able to perform that way.
And then just to add to that, you know, an injury could happen. And for me, my freshman year, this is a funny story, and I might as well just say it. It was our preseason, and we were having our two-a-days, and, you know, the two-a-days, our preseason, are always fun. And so this was the morning one, and I was walking into the locker room, and there were probably like 4 other girls in there, 4 of my teammates, and we have these stools, and I like sat it down on the ground, and I like went to go sit on it. And I didn't sit on it. I slammed to the floor. So bad. If any of my teammates are listening to this, oh my goodness, it was bad. I'm very clumsy, and I have like the weirdest injuries. So I bruised my tailbone. It was a bone bruise. It was like my sacrum, I believe. And I couldn't like walk. I mean, I could walk, but I couldn't like sit for a long period of time. And I was out for like a good 3 weeks. And so I missed our preseason games. And that was rough. It was really hard. And that's, as silly as that injury is, it just sucks when you are watching your team practicing and your team playing and you can't do anything about it. And, you know, you're shagging the balls and, you know, that's all you can do. And, you know, if that's the case for you and you have to go to a practice and you're injured and you know you can't play, still having that attitude and still doing what you can to, you know, shagging the balls, having the intent, giving feedback to your teammates, and, you know, being present, even though you can't physically be there and add to it, still being a part of the team and still, you know, sharing your passion for the game, I think is really important. And just also with the whole attitude thing, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in your day, and you only have those 3 hours of your day where you can just kind of escape from it all.
Exactly.
And just kind of forgetting about everything else and just doing your thing. And, you know, if you're going to college to play a sport, you've played that sport for a while. So, you know, being thankful for that time period where you can kind of just play your sport and not worry about anything else.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the way I like to think about injuries is, and the way I approach it, like take it is day by day. I don't think about, okay, how long am I going to be out for? Like, when am I coming back? The first thing I like to do is, hey, what am I going to do today to get better and like help me come back and help my teammates out? Because you see that consistently is like, all right, I got to be on the sideline. I got to do all the dirty work or whatever it is, but just do whatever you can to help you come back. And that's what I like to tell advice to everyone is, hey, take it day by day, rep by rep, however it is. Don't think about the long run. Don't think about, okay, how miserable this is. Don't think about that. Think about what I can do to get better every day. And that's, I think when I'm injured, and especially in football where there's a lot of injuries, a lot of contact, is that, hey, it's going to happen. Like it's probably bound to happen, but you just need to take it day by day, rep by rep, hour by hour, minute by minute to, help your teammates out and to make sure that, hey, I'm getting back full healthy and I'm ready to go whenever that time is to get ready to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So you talked a little bit about, we talked a little bit about freshman year, and now you're a senior, you're graduating. I always like to tell this, is there any advice you'd like to give, to anybody, sports world, or even just part of the volleyball world, your past experience coming in as a freshman and now looking back on it as a senior, what is there something you enjoyed or something you would do to change it? And of course you had success, because you don't just not have success by winning America East Rookie of the Year, but would you give advice to anybody out there who's going to be here in the next couple, 3-4 months that are going to be freshmen going into their to the season?
Yeah, I guess, well, for COVID and everything, that's just a whole another ball game. But my advice would be just kind of, honestly, I want to say just feel it out. When I was coming in my freshman year, I was freaking out. It was basically my summer before my freshman year, I was supposed to redshirt. So this is another story.
I love to hear it.
This is another story, and this also, helps answer the question. My plan was to redshirt my first year, and I would play on scholarship for the next 4 years. And that was my plan coming in when I committed in high school. That was the plan for a while. And then middle of June, I believe, before my freshman year, I get a call from my coach. And I was like thinking, hey, it's just a regular chat like she normally does. She checks in and says, hey. And she basically told me, you're not going to be redshirting this year because the setter had graduated early the year before. And she was like, so you'll be eligible to play. So you'll be playing. You'll be one of the other setters. And I was like, oh my God. I was really happy. I was like, this is great. Like I can, because I was really looking forward to training for that full year, and I wouldn't be playing in a game, but it's, you're still getting those skills and freshening up on, your work. And then she told me you're going to be playing. And I was like, this is great. But I'm also like, whoa, I was not ready for this. And my advice kind of on that, and this kind of just led into my freshman year. I was playing, and I, went through the highs and lows of that semester, and we made it to the America East tournament, and I got Rookie of the Year. I really saw it as, credit to my success and my hard work I put in, and just the pressure of that call in the summer, and it just kind of was up and down since then. But, you can never be ready. And as a freshman coming in, they're probably really nervous and confused, and they don't know what to expect. And especially with COVID and everything, I mean, right now we're playing and it's great with our masks, and it's really nice to be playing again in the spring, which is great. But being open-minded and just kind of looking forward to the training you're going to get and the team relationships you're going to build, and that culture is really important, because this is a sneak peek to my new blog post coming out, but your team is filled with people from all over the world. And especially with my team, there's a person from Germany, and different styles of play are all in one gym, and finding that single team culture to find success with is really hard. And developing that and finding that is just part of the game, and it's part of you as a freshman coming in, and being open to that and being willing to adapt and learn as you go, instead of thinking you're going to be ready, because you're not going to be ready.
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about the team chemistry side of things. How has COVID impacted your guys' team? I mean, you guys have started off on a good note, good foot this season already. But how's that COVID impacting like the team chemistry and with that sort of dynamic? Because it's impacted us a little bit with a lot of freshmen coming in. We have a little bit bigger of a team, but you're not able to have like your team bonding experiences and stuff like that because you're not allowed to be in those big groups. How have you guys dealt with that?
Yeah, in the fall, we had some girls opt out, and due to COVID concerns and everything, and there was the people that were there in the fall. We had our practices, in the beginning, and then we were shut down for an indefinite period, which was really hard, and the fact that the whole team wasn't there was a little hard, but what we did with everyone there is we had movie nights, and we had little gatherings, and getting food and stuff like that to kind of make up for not lost time, but just the fact that we couldn't do that. And then in the spring, now that everyone's here, it's really great. So our whole team's here, and it's awesome having a full squad at practice, and everyone's around, and it's nice that we have our full practice hours and practice time. But as far as like off the court, team chemistry is really great. We have 3 freshmen, and we welcome them with open arms. They're great, and we're making it a point to get people together, and we've had a few meetings, and we've talked about how it's important to. We have a lady who comes and talks to us, and she does team building with us, and so she's emphasized that you have little rocks and you have big rocks, and you have a jar, and it's your big rocks are your priorities, and it's your schoolwork, your practice times. And for me, I said it's also relationships on the team, and making it important to reach out to the freshmen, and to reach out to even the sophomores, and to manifest those relationships right now, because as far as what we have on the court, and we don't know if the season's going to end, and it's really uncertain because of COVID, but also just knowing that we're there for them, safety, and also just as a teammate. And it just comes with little things like going to get coffee, or watching a movie together, and just giving them a ride back from practice and stuff like that, to make up for things that we can't do on a larger scale.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's very important. I know we've a little struggled with it. I know we still have guys on the team that I have no idea. We have 100 guys, so I have no idea. Like I probably have seen them. I don't know if I've really got to know them as well as I would like to have stuff like that, and have all these team bonding stuff. I know in the fall we try to have some sort of at least as a group, receiver gathering, so we could get to know each other, because we had a couple new grad transfers come in and stuff like that. How have you guys on the volleyball side? You guys started with the games up. Has COVID affected those? Has it changed like your guys' routine and stuff like that when it comes to games and stuff like that? How has that impacted? Because I'd love to eventually have a basketball men's or women's basketball player on, but because they were the first people to deal with COVID. Now you guys move into the spring, you're one of the first teams in the spring, fall sports to play in the spring. What's the difference between kind of that dynamic?
Yeah, it's different for sure. As far as games go, we've had a few games so far, and no fans are allowed, obviously, which is hard, because a lot of our energy can come from the fans. We get a lot, especially in our last season, we had a lot of people at our games all the time, which is awesome. And just the energy that UAlbany students and other UAlbany athletes just bring to the volleyball games, it's really fun, and it's really exciting. And so generating that energy ourselves at our games, we have a lot of fun personalities on our team, so there's no problem with getting that energy. We have big personalities and all of that. It's just maintaining it, through our games. And, when we get tired, having one thing that one of our coaches pointed out in our last game is, when someone's falling behind, on the court or off the court, there's another person to pick them back up. And whether that's energy related, or, someone made a mistake and they just need a second, the energy part is really important for, 5-set games that can eventually come out. But just the dynamic of, the volleyball system and process, the game is the same. It's, we're wearing masks and the ref's wearing masks and he has a whistle in his hand instead of his mouth. So that's different. But, the playing is the same, which is great. And, it feels really good to be back and playing in the spring. We don't think about that when we're on the court. It's just like we're in the fall. There's just no fans. So that's probably the only main difference is just the fans. And the game's live streamed, but that part it's not the same.
No,
which we wish it could definitely be different, and we miss that for sure.
So you talked a little bit about playing in the spring. That transition from the fall to the spring. What has it been like for let's just talk about the class, like, because a lot of our class as athletes is like, all right, we made our classes in the spring for the fall. So we would figure out, all right, we got to work around this practice time, figure out like, all right, I'm going to take maybe a little bit easier classes because I know I'm in season and doing that, whatnot. I understand that you are an academic weapon out here and just phenomenal in honors college and all these great things. But how has that impacted the class being changed where it's like, okay, well, I might have planned on having an easier or harder academic part in the spring, knowing in the spring of last year, knowing that, hey, like we're going to be playing. But how's that impacted you from a not necessarily as an athletic standpoint, but impacted your classes, knowing that you're in season now in the spring?
Yeah, it's definitely different than the past spring seasons because, usually in the past spring seasons, we're going harder in the weight room, 3 times a week instead of 2 times a week. And practices are in the morning instead of the afternoon. And, it's just kind of flipped because now it's like our fall season is our spring season. And so as far as classes go, for my classes is I needed, a certain few left that I had to take to graduate. And, I unfortunately have to miss a practice a week because I have class and, it's the class that it is. It's a writing seminar. So it's a class I have to take to graduate for my major. And that's really hard because, I don't know if like I could have maybe taken that in the fall when we didn't have our season and I wouldn't have to miss a practice a week this time or this season. And that's really hard because we're in season and that's a practice where I'm not there and I don't know what's going on and it's really hard. But, the good thing is our coaches are, understanding, of course, and it's academics are first. But, for me, that's hard and it's a hard class. But, for my other classes, I have some electives and I usually take a few electives every spring. And so the classes are entertaining and they're interesting and stimulating, but, the level of work, I feel like for some of my classes can be more busy work and it's hard because it's time consuming and it's, energy I'm giving, when I'm not in practice and it's, I have to sleep too. I have to eat. So I feel like it's harder than I thought to manage. And, talking to some of my other teammates, it's some of them have really good schedules and, their class loads per class aren't as bad as they thought. And then some are on the other end and they're like, oh, it's crazy. There's so much work. And, I feel like it just really depends on what you're studying and, what your professors are thinking.
Yeah, exactly. So for the advice for the current student athlete or the future student athlete, what would you say would be the best thing you can do to help manage, that time management part of, we are so busy with athletes, lift, meetings, practice, all this other stuff, especially when we're in season. How do you deal with that when you also have a crap load of academics, class schedule, all this other stuff that you got to go do? What's your best approach? What do you do that, helps you? Because you're very successful in the on the court and in the classroom. What helps you do that, be so successful?
I'm just laughing because it's like, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, because if you think about it, it's like, so for volleyball we play on the weekends. So this weekend we're traveling, and when we have the weekend to do homework, we have 2 games on the weekend, so it's like it's hard. For me, kind of what works best is so there's some people that plan it out and they'll plan their times and schedule when they're going to do their homework. And I would say I'm kind of like that. I don't like, sometimes what I do is like at the beginning of my week, I'll write down all the stuff I have to do that week, or I'll type it out. This semester, for the first time, I actually like wrote on a Word document. I was like class by class, and I had my due dates and what was due on that day. But week by week, I do write out like what I have to do this week, and when it's due by this week. And it's not necessarily me devoting time to do the thing. It's just what it is I have to do. And so I do make it my mission. So when I do have free time, after lift, before my practice, I have to get it done. And it's just kind of having that intrinsic motivation. And that's not something you can just like say, okay, I'm motivated.
Exactly.
It's just something you kind of have to work towards and really focus on. And if someone struggles with doing their work on time, maybe it might help giving times to do your work, and devoting specific times for this and that. And also just having an accountability buddy. My roommates are good with me, and just, hey, did you get your work done? Like, did you do your work? And also just telling people about your work is also good. And okay, I'm gonna do it, and just kind of verbally confirming that you're gonna do it, I think really helps. And just being in the moment again with all of that.
Yeah, the best way I came up with is help people out. At least people help out on my team. So anybody who's listening who's struggling with the academic part of stuff, is what I like to say is get a planner or something to plan out and help you figure out, okay, here's what time I got class, here's the time I got school or practice, here's what time I got meetings, here's what time I got lift. Write that stuff down, and then figure out which days you got stuff due, and allocate a certain amount of time each day to that certain amount of things. I don't personally do it because honestly I don't even know. You and my girlfriend, you're the ones who are way more organized, and you guys figure it out, and way more on top of things, which maybe I should take advice to, is do that. But what I usually just free ball it, kind of just figure it out. And sometimes some days are better than the others, because you're like, man, I got no work today, I got nothing to worry. And some days you're like, man, I gotta cram this all in and do all this other stuff, which is, I got to stay better on that, on top of that. But you being a senior and you graduating early, do you have any tips or anything like that to help those? Because, to graduate in 3 years, did you come in with any credits like that?
So it was never my plan to graduate early. Earlier I had said, it's my plan to be here for 5 years, but my advisor actually came to me my sophomore fall, I believe. And she was like, hey, because I came in with 22, I believe, 20 or 22, I can't remember. But she had said, oh, you can do it if you want. And I had taken a summer class also just to take it, to get it done with. And she was like, you can graduate early if you want. And I was kind of just like, oh, I'll just get my life started earlier, which sounds kind of scary. I know any adult like older than me that I talk to, they're like, why are you graduating early? Like, you don't want to start your life. You don't want to go to the real world yet. But I'm like, I kind of do. I'm like, I kind of just want to get out there and start working towards something. Volleyball is not forever, which is sad to say, but it's just, I've always had goals since I was younger, career goals and things like that, I finally can be reaching right now and get started earlier, I guess, according to my advisor. So that's kind of what I did. But tips wise for people just kind of getting into the academics of being a student athlete, just, I guess, starting with a planner, I would say that's definitely a good thing. But not getting too stressed, definitely reaching out to your advisor before, initiating contact with your advisor, and also establishing relationships with your professors. That's really good here with our athletic academic advisors. They give us those letters, and they get us figured out with missing classes and all of that. But even just a normal student, like just connecting with your professors and finding students in your classes, and having study groups and stuff like that. But just taking it day by day, honestly, and not freaking out, because as a freshman you don't know what to expect.
Exactly. So you're not coming back then? You're saying, I'm starting my real world. You're not coming back next semester?
No,
you're not coming back?
No, I won't be.
So then talking about that, so then what do you want to do then with your, let's talk a little bit about your major and what you want to do. Now that you're saying, hey, I want to go to the academic field, volleyball is maybe just, hey, it's not something. It's not forever.
I definitely want to coach. I would definitely.
You're definitely
coach.
passionate about the sport. You want to do it, but hey, like I just want to. I got all these career goals. Got these goals that I've had. So what's your major and what do you want to do?
Yeah, so I major in psychology and minor criminal justice, and literally since I was probably a freshman in high school or maybe a sophomore in high school, I've always wanted to be in the FBI or the CIA, and I've always wanted to do like behavioral analysis work. And Criminal Minds, yes, inspired me, but I know that's not realistic. Trust me, I know. And just kind of people are just really interesting to me, and that's kind of why that is why I studied psychology. And just people are so different, and I'm like, why do people do this? Why do they act like this compared to that person who does this? And that's really like the source of why I wanted to get into this, and just kind of studying criminals. And I've also recently, from my collegiate experience, I've been into mental health counseling. So those are two different things. And, athletic counseling. So I applied to a few grad programs, some sports and performance psychology programs, some forensic psychology programs. And, I'm waiting to hear back after some of the interview stages I've had. And so my next step is to be determined. But as far as career goals, I could see myself having my own sports psychology practice, but I could also see myself, being in the FBI. So it's two different things. But the good thing is I'm very committed and dedicated to figuring what it is that is. But yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Only time will tell, as they like to say.
Yeah, I definitely would be interested in. I have a few hopeful maybe graduate assistantship coaching jobs. That would be a good thing I'd want to do in my graduate school, wherever I end up, if that's what I do. But yeah, so right now it's kind of just a waiting game to see what happens in the next few months.
So you're more looking to go to grad school, more focus on school more than actually getting the opportunity to maybe go play at another school.
I've thought about that as well. Yeah, I've thought about that as well, playing, because I'll have 2 years of eligibility left. So I've thought about that too. And, playing those last 2 years. So that's definitely on my mind too. I'm not ready to leave just yet.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. We talked
it's hard to think about.
A little bit. We talked a little bit this with Nick in the last episode, is filling that void and being able, how important that is, because it's coming from a mental health side, is that, hey, like you've been playing sports ever since I've been playing sports ever since I was like pretty much been out, just been into sports all my life and stuff like that. And like I said, I can't think about like life after football, because or even just sports in general, because it's like, well, what am I gonna do? Like I have this competitive edge, I got all this other things that physical activity. What am I gonna do to figure out that void? And I think that's also important to think about also when you're just going to grad school, or just figuring out, hey, do I want to stay or do I want to keep going? And just figuring out, hey, what's best for me? What am I going to do? What am I going to thrive in? What scenario I'm going to be able to thrive in?
Yeah, I'm right with you there. Same thing. I've been in sports. I played soccer. I did lacrosse camp for a week. That didn't go well. I played basketball. I've done all kinds of, I did dance. That was just cringy. But yeah, volleyball got me here, and volleyball has gotten me a lot of places in my life, and it's like I need to get myself somewhere, because volleyball may not be the ignition to get me wherever next. And I'm right with you. Like, what is it that I do? It's very like you're kind of at a standstill, and you're just like, what is going to get me here? And I feel like that comes back to just knowing who you are and knowing your purpose, and in the game, off the game, out of the game, just taking a step back and accepting yourself, and what am I good at, what am I offering, and just kind of thinking about that.
Well, if you're going to be a sports psychologist, man, you might have to be your first patients here.
Okay, cool.
You have to do a bunch of tests, figure out what's wrong.
Free. It'll be free.
Okay, free. Sweet. Awesome. That's awesome. But you talked a little bit about being a setter and a quarterback of the group. Being the cerebral side of the game, is that something you enjoy about, like, and you're a very cerebral person, is that something that why you became a setter, or wanted to be a setter, and you thrived in that position? Is that why?
Yeah, I love being a setter. I can't imagine myself in any other position. I mean, I used to hit some too when I was in high school, but a little undersized now in the volleyball world. But yeah, I love it. Setters, as you know, my teammates and my dad always tells me, having that high IQ and just knowing what's going on the court. And I love the strategy of it, and running plays and tricking the other side is my favorite thing to do. And it's also, you're involved in every play, and you're touching the second touch most of the time, unless they hit at you. But it's kind of like you're captain. You're the offensive captain of your team, and not having that sense. It's not the control thing. It's not having that sense of control. It's just, having that trust from your teammates that, they trust in you that you're going to run this play. But then you have your coaches right there that if you're freaking out and you're messing up and you need something to run, they're right there. And I just think, setters have to pass and set, and I get to attack some too. And, setter dumps are my favorite thing to do. And I don't know, I just love the strategy of it all, and just, telling my teammates what they're running. And, when I walk on the court, the other side's like, oh shoot, what's she gonna do? And it's just kind of having that aura. It's just really nice. And I don't know, I couldn't imagine being in any other position. It's just, as me being very observant as a person, no other position is good for me. That one's the best.
The most experience I got playing volleyball is middle school gym class, baby.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
With the big volleyballs?
No, we still got the regular ones.
Okay.
Shout out to all the people in Omaha, Nebraska listening to this. But we used to play in gym class, and it'd be in Omaha, Nebraska, volleyball is very big. It's a very big in the Midwest. It's a very big sport, and so there'd be a couple volleyball gals in our gym class, and there'd just be a bunch of these sporty kids, and we'd be so into it, and just be hey, we beat them, oh my gosh, we don't even play volleyball. But I used to just love just freaking hitting, just spiking in.
In the summer we have a sand court. All of my friends go to it and we play. And, in middle school, too, for me, everyone's like, oh, I got to have her on my team. But then, when my friends beat me, when we play in the summer, they're like, oh, my God, we beat you. I'm like, oh, please. I'm like, just stop. But it's just, as a setter, people don't realize how much you're thinking about the game. And, when you kind of do something tricky and they're like, oh, whoa, she saw that. And it's just, I think that's the best part about the position. And, yeah, I don't know. I love it. And it's great.
I just think that's such an underrated part of the game. Any sport you play is the cerebral side, the IQ, having that, and being in the right place at the right time, not necessarily being the biggest, fastest, strongest, is being in the right place at the right time and figuring out. Because I think, part of my game a little bit is also knowing certain things in football and certain things in coverages and certain stuff like that, which I think can help anybody. Is you honestly, you can't get enough of having that IQ. You constantly always building more information into your brain, and where you're like, okay, so here's what they're doing and stuff. So for volleyball, do you guys watch a lot of film, and you being the setter and being the quarterback, figuring out okay, here, if in this situation we should run this play or stuff like that? Is that something that you do and that you enjoy to do?
Yeah, no, for film, as our team, we watch it all the time. And, as a team, we'll watch it, watch who we're playing. We'll do scouting reports and all of that. And we'll watch, the plays they run, the serves, everything in between. But no, for me, definitely on my own time, I'll watch the team. And I'll watch I always watch the other setter. And I feel every time setters come on the court, for opposing teams, they stare each other down. They're like, yeah, no, I'm going to beat you. I don't know. It's just funny. It's some game. But I'll watch it on my own, and I'll kind of not critique the other setter. I'm like, she should have run that. And I'll just, because I've been surrounded by the game my whole life in this position, when I'm watching the game, I'm always saying something, and I'm like, oh no, they should have run that because of this. And it's just very analytical. And then we'll also talk about, as a team and with our coaches, things we should run. And of course they'll let us think of things and run it by them if it's okay and all of that. And it's really just a whole team thing. And there's of course me as the setter, and the other setters on our team individually, we run plays and we try to figure things out. But we're one perspective, and, having that teammate perspective and the coaching perspective to give us other things to run. And, we don't see everything. We like to say we've seen everything and we know everything that's going on, but having your teammates help you and say, hey, did you see her doing this? And did you see her doing that? Just helps kind of with the whole picture. So it's really just emphasizes that volleyball is such a team sport, and everyone has a role no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's super important. And we talked about a little bit with the chemistry and having that team aspect of stuff. And I think that's really important. That's underrated in team sports. Granted, I think volleyball is one that's very team oriented, and there's a couple sports that you're just kind of a little bit more individual. Golf, tennis. I'd say baseball somewhat is a team sport, but it's a lot of more individual. You versus softball, you versus the pitcher. That's about it. Is there any sort of team chemistry ideas that you have that might help other teams or something to help with their cohesiveness and stuff like that? Is there any things you guys like to do? Let's just say pre-COVID that you guys like to do that helped you guys have a team bonding part?
We have cheers and stuff like that we do that are, specific to our team. And really one thing that our team, is so good at is, one of my teammates pointed this out, but we just come together at the end, winner in a game. If we're winning or if we're ahead or if we're losing or in a rut, we are always there to bring each other up. And that's not something that's just figured out, that's from developing relationships off the court and really being there for your teammates, because they're your friends and they're your peers and they're not just a person you're sitting next to at practice. It's really making time to know and understand these people, because they're people. And I think it's just from a team cohesiveness perspective, just having that trust and that bond that you have to initiate sometimes is really important. And not everyone's going to initiate it, and sometimes you have to make the first move. But I feel like, the upperclassmen talking down to the underclassmen and, kind of setting a standard is really important. And, people just picking up the pieces and, playing their roles is just also really important. And, so I just think us being there for each other through and through as true, authentic people is what keeps us going, and what, some teams might not have, and maybe they do have it and they're still figuring it out, and that's fine too.
Yeah, you being the true, authentic person, is that something you've always been your entire life growing up, and certain things like that? Has your childhood kind of helped you, have that some sort of truthful, honest, trustworthy person that you are today? Yeah,
definitely. I've been myself. I don't know. I've always been myself. No, just staying true to who I am and just my values and just my morals. And, of course, everyone goes through high school and, there's drama and there's all of those kinds of things that can happen between friendships and all of that. But it's just knowing who you are at the end of the day. And sports is honestly a big help to that, just being surrounded by other people and collaboration and group work and teams and having that culture and, group stuff and being on a team is really important. And not everyone likes group projects. I don't like group projects. I like to work by myself because my group projects I'm always the person taking the load. But, just being on a team and surrounded by people being forced to cooperate and forced to collaborate really is something we don't realize actually helps us find out more about ourselves. And, working with others brings unique perspective. And, if you're not working with this person and you don't realize what they're thinking, and what they're thinking could just bring you so much more perspective and to the world and just whatever's going on. But I've always stayed true to myself, and through my sports and just through my friendships and all of that.
So going back to your childhood, what was it like for you growing up in, Leesburg, Virginia?
Leesburg,
yeah. So where exactly is that in the part of Virginia? And talk a little bit about your childhood for us.
Yeah, Leesburg, Virginia is about 45 minutes west of Washington, D.C. So It's very northern Virginia. It's considered Nova. Anybody from there knows Nova. But so it's my childhood. Been in sports my whole life, and grown up with strict parents, and they want you to be in sports, and they expected me to be a great kid. I was a great kid, but just my childhood was very, I don't know, I feel like it was very involved in sports, and I learned a lot about myself, and I went to public school, and yeah, it was very just, I feel like it was normal. I don't know. It was very not too crazy.
Yeah. So why UAlbany? So from Virginia, why UAlbany?
Yeah.
Like, out of all the schools that you got recruited out of, why'd you pick UAlbany?
Yeah, so UAlbany was actually the very first school to reach out to me. They saw me at a club tournament, and it was the very first school to offer me. And, of course, I ended up here, obviously. But, yeah, I really liked UAlbany because I knew for a fact I didn't want to go close to home because I just didn't want to go. I'm very independent, so I just wanted to get out. I wasn't thinking across the country, but I was thinking 6 hours is about the commute from Leesburg to UAlbany, and I thought that was pretty good distance. So that was one thing. And also just the academics here is really, really competitive, and the honors college too, and that really stuck out to me. And that was also a priority when I was looking at schools, because of course there's the volleyball, but there's also the academic side to it as well. And I really liked the campus and the team culture. When I visited, obviously understanding that some of the girls wouldn't be here when I was here because they graduated, but the team culture was awesome, and I just could really see myself here. And I feel like that sounds very like cliche, but, I just felt very at home. And I visited a few schools and, had, schools I was looking at. Anywhere else I went, I didn't really see myself there. And not that that's a bad thing. It's a good thing because you kind of have more validity in where you decide to go. But I just felt, it was not too far from home, not too close. But also when I, stepped foot on campus and I finally visited and, got to meet with the coaches and the team, like meeting with the teammates is really important. And finding out, their side of things and their perspective. So it just kind of all fit in, and it checked the right boxes. And so I was kind of like, okay, even though like they did offer me first out of all the schools, and I ended up, of course, deciding to go here. So I did definitely go through my options, but I kept coming back to, every other school had to beat UAlbany, and none of them didn't.
Did you account for the weather? Did the other schools have a lot better weather than?
No, I didn't account for the Virginia weather. Leesburg weather is very temperamental as well. Like, okay, it's really cold here, and like Leesburg doesn't get as cold, but Virginia's not like.
No, I'm not saying it's sunshine and rainbows, not Florida. But I'm just saying, did you account for the wind and all that other stuff?
I definitely did not. I knew I was getting the puffy, so I was like, that's good. But no, I didn't.
I got one more perk than the other schools.
Yeah,
I'm getting a jacket.
Yeah.
They are not getting a jacket.
Right.
They're going getting the nice little windbreaker. I'm getting a full-on winter coat.
Yeah, big puff.
But yeah, so you like the campus part of stuff, because is that what appealed to you, is having like our campus with it's not really spread out, it's all kind of in one, like within like almost an acre of all each other.
Like its own circle.
It's like its own little circle. Yeah. Is that something you enjoyed?
Yeah, I did. It definitely is all together, which was nice. And then also just kind of like the off campus, all the malls and the restaurants and all of that. It was a good location for sure. So it's just thinking about, on campus was appealing, and, everything was kind of together. And I liked the academic buildings, how they're all together, and you don't have to go too far. And it's not like you have to go down to Main Street or anything. But then also off campus, just kind of the entertainment and just the, Washington Park and all of that. So that was just something that appealed to me too.
Have you been up here in the summer at all and get a chance to go up to Saratoga and these other northern places?
Yeah, I went to Saratoga actually with my family when I went to volleyball camp here. So when I wasn't at the school yet, but it was just they do their volleyball camp every summer, and I was a commit, so I had gone, and I went with my family to Lake George, which was fun, and then also to Saratoga, which was also really fun. I haven't been to Saratoga since I've been here, but I went with my family before. I do plan to go with my roommates soon, though.
Yeah, you got to go in the summertime.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like when I first came to Albany, I was like, more of like, okay, I started searching stuff to do in Albany. I'm like, what was there to do in Albany? And then I finally like ventured out, and I was like, oh man, I go up 20 minutes north. It's a completely different ball game up there. I never would have thought the stuff like that. We're up here in the summer for football and stuff, so I love country music, so I love going
me too.
Awesome. I love to go to the country music concerts, and I doubt they'll be open this summer, but I'm hoping maybe something, because I loved coming up here. I think I went to Luke Bryan twice. What is another one? I'm trying to think. I'm blanking on the other ones.
Have you been to Rascal Flats?
I've not been to Rascal Flats.
So
yeah,
good.
I went down to New York City with my girlfriend to go see Cody Johnson. That's probably like one of my favorite artists right now. But also like Cole Swindell and John Langston were opening up for Luke Bryan, and so like two of those guys I'm pretty big fans of. So just having that opportunity to go up there and just see those people in person, I just think those guys are rock stars.
Yeah,
man. Like, it's so cool. Like, I've never really been to a concert prior to me coming up here, so getting the opportunity to actually go see that was really, really cool, especially knowing I know just about every song. It's pretty awesome.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and have you been to the horse races at Sarasota?
I've been to the horse races.
Yeah, I've been too. They're super fun.
Yeah, I think I went to one. I think I went to one. Yeah, I went to one. It was all right. Like, I think I definitely need to go back, because it'll be a lot more fun. But I'll definitely have to go check out the Hall of Fame too. I think there's the Racing Hall of Fame, because I know, shout out to all the Erie people, there's the Presque Isle Downs, which is in, where I used to live in Erie, Pennsylvania, and they would have like every like Friday night at like a family night, and so me and my in the summertime we'd go and just watch the horse races. It was just a good time.
Yeah, my roommate and I in the fall went to Boston for a day. Boston, I've never been there, because we just, we were shut down and we were like, let's go for one day. And so she used to go to school in Boston, or near Boston. So she showed me around, and we got to do all the historical stuff there. So that was definitely something fun in the fall when we were shut down. But yeah.
I was supposed to go to Boston for spring break last year, and I was gonna do whatever it is, the trail that they have,
the Freedom Trail.
The Freedom Trail.
Yeah,
that's exactly
cool.
what it is. And we weren't able to go because of COVID and stuff, because of all the COVID cases. We didn't know much about COVID, so it was like my family and didn't really feel comfortable with me going. So I was like, well, it is what it is. Well, I'll have to make a trip, another time. But what's your favorite country? All the country music fans out there, what's your favorite? At least give a top like 3 or 5 like that you like to listen to.
Rascal Flatts, definitely the top. I love them. There's so many. Luke Bryan. Gosh, I don't know. I love all of them. I like Thomas Rhett, but I also like Keith Urban. I could literally list Dan and Shay. I like Dan and Shay. The Rascal Flatts concert was so fun because Dan and Shay opened for them. Wow. And I was just like, I was in love. Like, this is amazing. It's not even just like the music, it's just the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
It's super fun. And they even the Rascal Flatts did a cover of Don't Stop Believin' by Journey, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm like, this isn't even a country song. But yeah, so probably them. I don't know. I love so many. Yeah,
the ones I've really got, and I've really started to like Morgan Wallen. His new album came out a month ago, whatever it is, and I cannot stop listening to that. It's just so awesome. I think somebody put me on the team. I think Joe Cassell. Shout out to Joe Cassell. I think he put me on to Morgan Wallen like for one time, and I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I just don't know who he was. And I was like, listen, I'm like, this is some good stuff. Like, I'm also into like the Cody Johnson. There's a couple Texas boys that I like to listen to as well, and that I enjoy listening to. But it's always, like I said, music's a big part, I think a lot of athletes' life, because it helps connect with them. Oh yeah. And I know let's sort of talk about music and the mental health. Have you done any research or anything like a little bit about mental health helping out, or music helping out with your mental health, and kind of using that as an escape along with sports as well?
I haven't done any research into it, but as far as of course it's a mood booster, but just kind of music. And this is another tip for people coming in. My study beats playlist, and it's basically music that they play, and you can study to it, and it helps you it helps you stay on task and focus. And it's not like, of course, your favorite jams, or you're just listening and kind of going crazy, but also just taking time to have those dance parties if you want them, or if, just listening to music. And I love listening to music and rolling my windows down, even if it's literally like 10 degrees outside, like my windows are down and I'm listening to music, while I'm driving. And it's kind of just that thing that's always there for you if you want it, and you don't have to listen to it. But, I just feel like it's, of course, pre-game, it's fun to listen to.
Do you got a sunroof on your car?
No, actually, I don't have one, which is sad.
I feel like you'd be the person to throw down.
Yeah.
Just like have the music playing.
The car that I brought this semester doesn't have a sunroof, but my one at home does.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because I took my dad's car this semester because my other car's older and he didn't think it would survive.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be using the sunroof anytime soon.
Yeah, no,
right now.
Right.
So you're okay for now.
Yeah.
You're okay for now, but maybe a little bit in the summertime when you go back home.
My future car will definitely have a sunroof. Okay.
Throw it in. Any car salesman out there that's listening right now, make sure if you hit up Andersen, be like, I can give you a great deal on a sunroof.
That and Apple CarPlay.
Apple CarPlay. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. I'm not big into the tech world and Apple products or whatever it is.
It's just like the touch screen and like on the car where you can like connect your phone and you have all your apps.
Yeah, see, I'm an old-fashioned person, so like I have an 85 K10 pickup truck, not here on campus, but back at home, and so I've worked on it and done a lot of stuff on it with the engine and rebuild and stuff like that on it, and that's a thing I'm into a lot is car parts and car engines. But yeah, I mean, my car still bumps, so I did take it to my radio got stolen out of my car or something. Man. And I got it. We took it to like an audio place, and I think we threw in like a subwoofer and stuff. So the car definitely bumps. It's loud as hell, but
that's funny.
It bumps. Like
good.
if you throw in any song you want in there, windows down in the summertime, even though there's no AC in the car, it's hot, but hey, you'll have great music.
People see you and they're like, "There's Tyler."
It's always so funny. It's like, they can always tell if I'm like 2-3 blocks away because it's like they can just hear my car.
That's funny. That's amazing.
Yeah, but like I said, I enjoy those times in the summertime. Like just that vibe of like windows down music and all that other stuff is so. I need that right now.
Yeah.
Like honestly, especially this gloomy Albany weather.
Yeah.
Even though the sun is shining, it's brick cold outside.
Yeah.
I need some sun, need some warm. I wish we could go like to Florida or something for just spring break, and I could just go play golf for a week and just spend outside. Right now, I really need that. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, the closest to, I don't know, do you know what Topgolf is?
I know what Topgolf is.
I'm so bad at golf. I'm literally like swinging 3 times and missing. It's so bad. But I can never do golf.
Topgolf, that's a fun atmosphere. Their business model and the stuff that they're doing is fantastic. They're building up places left and right, and there's stuff that they do, like just the analytics part. I'm a big analytics guy, so I like the analytics of the ball and all this other stuff of figuring out. Is so cool. Like it fascinates me.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting.
You can get Chick-fil-A, but it's gonna come at a cost.
Airport. Yeah, that's.
Find your cheapest.
Yeah, my roommate said she would do it. She would go in and she would buy a ticket.
That's an expensive Chick-fil-A trip, right there.
Well, actually, COVID, but I don't know if I would do that just for Chick-fil-A.
I don't know, $70, $80, $90 for a Chick-fil-A trip, and then it's more expensive because it's in the airport as well. So it's like,
and they might not even have everything.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times, so they do have a majority of stuff, but the line is usually like, and they're not very good at it because it's not. It's so good. I love murder, and I'm the short one in my family.
Okay.
My dad's 6'3", my mom's like 5'10", 5'9", and so like my brother's like 6'4", and so I was like, hey, if I got a chance to be 6'4", I'm gonna give it the opportunity to with no coffee, no caffeine, no coffee. So try to stay out of that. But what?
I've been making a lot of my own food more recently.
Me too.
I've been cooking, trying to do that to save also money too, which is important.
Yeah, actually, I have not done most of the cooking. My girlfriend's done most of the cooking. So again, shout out to my wonderful girlfriend. She's been cooking about 80% of the time. Sheridan, shout out to Sheridan. She's cooking 80% of the time and stuff like that, which I've pretty much cut about eating out. But last year we did this kind of fun thing that maybe people should try post-COVID is we'd every Sunday morning in the springtime when we were out of season, or Saturday, whatever it was, we would find a local breakfast place. And so we would go search around and find like a great breakfast place. And so we actually got cut short because of COVID, and we were still like planning on going a couple places, but I'm still looking for a donut shop too.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, my boyfriend and I love donuts. Oh my gosh. There's a vegan. My boyfriend goes to Towson, and it's in Baltimore, Maryland.
Yep.
Or close to Baltimore,
It's
Maryland.
around Towson, Maryland.
Yeah, Towson, Maryland. Yes. There's a vegan donut shop there, which I'm not a vegan or anything, but I was like, vegan donuts, that sounds amazing. And they were actually really good. And yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of donut shops, just kind of like in general.
No,
none here for sure.
I think next weekend I might have to. There's maybe one that I've not gone to, and because there is one, I think it's called.
Oh yeah. Okay.
For a donut shop. So anybody has any recommendations in food in the Albany area, let me and Andersen know, because we are searching. We are struggling. We're on the struggle bus here to find these places that usually happen. We need some locals to help us out here. So any local athletes or any locals who are listening to this, please let me know about these places. So yeah, it's very Albany's a very interesting place.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
Lots of good stuff, some not so good stuff, but majority a lot of good stuff on campus. Well, so that's fantastic. Again, before we wrap it up here, do you want to talk hit it again on your blog, and talk a little bit about that, and like I said, just elaborate a little bit on that before we wrap things up?
Yeah. So, my blog is called Simply Andersen. I kind of just made up that name. I don't really know. I didn't know what I should name it, so I was just like, okay, it's just Andersen's blog, Simply Andersen. It's simplyAndersen.wordpress.com. I can have him leave the link or something.
Yeah, I will do that.
For you guys to go check it out. If you guys I also have an Instagram account for it, Simply Andersen. It just sounds like that. And if you guys are reading or hearing this and you want to request something for me to write or anything like that, I'll write anything from mental health to burnout to tips and tricks to navigating your life through COVID, anything like that. I'm really open-minded with my writing. I've gotten a lot of good feedback about how conversational my writing is, and it's just kind of like you're reading it and you're not bored, which I guess is a good thing. But yeah, so if you guys want to check it out, I would really appreciate it. And then you can follow the account. And then also on my Instagram account, I like to post templates and stuff, and I'll post a quote, or I'll even make up a quote, which is really cool because it's like I kind of made it up myself. And I'll post it and just kind of talk and give a little blurb about it, and just goes from kind of anything. But yeah, so that's kind of it, I guess.
Well, that's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff, Andersen. So again, guys, please go check that blog post out. I read all of them, and it really helped me, at least take a different perspective on things. I'm a big information, take different perspectives on certain things, and I can see how this can help. So if you're in that hole or something and you need help, please go look at those blogs and check out Andersen's Instagram, her blogs, and all that good stuff, because it's a lot of great information out there that can be used by anybody, not just student athletes or anybody, but anybody in the workforce, anybody like that who needs that help and is looking for it. And these blogs, can relate to what you're going through. So again, Andersen, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about all the different stuff we talked about. And yeah, that was great. Like I said, guys, please check her blog out. I will link it in the description, and I'll put it in the podcast description as well for all you podcast listeners. And then, like I said, subscribe, and again, thanks for all the support, and thanks to Andersen for coming on the show.
Thank you, Tyler.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, guys. All right.